Hello and welcome to the Real-Esteem podcast. Today is August the 24th, 2018. I'm your host, Patrick Tabor, and today on the Parenting Edition, we're going to talk about favoritism. If you'd like to hear any of our previous podcasts or get a copy of our book, Real-Esteem, Finding Your True Identity in Christ, please visit us at enith.com, www.eyniith.com. Favoritism has no place in the home. It really is unnecessary and it's not beneficial to the child or the parents. It doesn't garner or gain anything for the child. It just gives the wrong perspective to a child. In Proverbs 24, starting at verse 23, it says, "These also are sayings of the wise. To show partiality in judgment is not good. He who says to the wicked, 'You are righteous,' people will curse him. Nations will abhor him. But those who rebuke the wicked will be delight, and a good blessing will come upon them." It is very important that you don't give your children the idea that they're better than their brothers or sisters. If they think they're better than their siblings because you favored them or shown partiality to them as opposed to one of their siblings, you are giving them the ability to control, manipulate, and push down their siblings because they know they can get away with it. You never want to give a child that mindset that they're better than someone else, because they're going to grow up and find out in the real world that doesn't apply. It only applies when they're with you as the parent. So just, it's not good judgment. It's really not wise at all. And you, unfortunately, as a parent, will have to reap the negative effects of that decision or those decisions later in life when you see the struggle that your child may go through. James 2:9 says, "But if you show partiality, you are committing sin and are convicted by the law as transgressors." So it's a sin. The Bible strictly tells us not to show partiality between the rich and the poor, not to show partiality between one race or culture or another. But, we do it all the time in so many different ways. We have to, we're actually taught that in some instances growing up, and we have to be able to kind of clean ourselves up, get that thought process and that mentality out of us, because it's the way of the world, unfortunately. Romans 2:11 says, "For God shows no partiality. He's no respecter of person. He doesn't put one person above the other. He loves all." Acts 10:34 through 35. "So Peter opened his mouth and said, 'Truly I understand that God shows no partiality, but in every nation, anyone who fears him and does what is right is acceptable to him.'" So we know that God doesn't look or judge by the outer appearance. He looks at the heart. He looks at the content and the intent of your heart, and that's what he judges you by. So being favoring someone, a child, in a particular family, it is detrimental to that family. It's going to eventually catch up with the child and the parents, and it's going to cause a rift between siblings. You don't really want that to be an issue in your home. There's so many divisive ways that it can leave a foothold for the enemy to enter into your relationships in your home and really destroy them. James 3:17 says, "But the wisdom from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, open to reason, full of mercy and good fruits, impartial and sincere." Impartial. So if you're gonna get wisdom from God, just know that it's not going to have any partiality attached to it. You have to be impartial. You have to let go of favoritism. You can't pick and choose who's better because you're not a judge. So just remember, in your home, your best bet is not to show partiality at all, but to teach each child and train each child up in the way that they should go, knowing that they're different children, may have different personalities, but that doesn't mean that you have to. You may enjoy one personality more than the other, but don't give that child more attention and more adoration than you do the other child, because it's not fair and it doesn't help that child develop or know that they're loved. It's going to hurt one child more than the other in their mindset, but eventually in the future, that child will have a false perception of how life should be, and they'll find out really quick in the real world that things don't actually work that way. So there's issues throughout the Bible. Jacob he favored Joshua, then his brothers hated him. Peter, he favored the Jews when he was, supposed to speak to the Gentiles, but when the Jews came around, he would always kind of separate and shoo them away. His mentality was wrong, and God corrected him on that. He was, I think Paul even grabbed him and told him, you can't do that. God got him through a vision or a dream. So the point here is you do not want to build up a stronghold in your child through favoritism, because that child will think, oh, well, I'm actually better, when it's not true. It's not a true statement. And the reason God shows he's impartial, is because he knows how he made everybody. He did not make or believe that one was better than the other. He made people the way he wanted them to be, and it doesn't help him to raise up your children into the way that they should go. It doesn't help him to grow and impart into your children what they need if you are putting items in their spirit that are going to hinder them in their future. So I hope you got something out of this today. Be blessed, grace and peace.